How often on a daily basis do you repeatedly hear a noise like this? Or like this? These are the notification sounds of the two biggest social messaging applications available, Facebook Messenger and WhatsApp. Although social media may seem like a great way to connect with friends and family on a daily basis, there are a lot of dangers surrounding their online experiences. I've gone on a journey to try and identify how dangerous social media can be on lives. Firstly, speaking to a children's psychiatrist.
Hi, my name is Dr. Rabia Abrar. I'm a child psychiatrist, and I'll be talking very briefly about the impacts of social media and screen time on young people's mental health.
Before getting a more general perspective from another experienced psychiatrist.
My name is David Reese. I've been a psychiatrist for 30 years, and we're talking today about the risks of obsessively using social media or the internet and how disruptive that can be, and things that can be done to try to get that under control.
I've also found someone daring enough to take part in a social media experiment.
Hi, my name's Beth, and I'm taking part in a social media experiment.
But before we get onto that, I managed to survey 451 people across several universities in the UK to try and find out the average amount of time young people spend on social media. The results were quite shocking. Only 12.4% of people said that they use 2 hours or less on social media per day. Alongside this, 22% of people claim to spend 5 hours or more online. But the most popular time frame was 2 to 3 hours, with 33.56% of people stating that they spent this on social media. Another study found that experts considered you to be addicted if you spend more than 2 hours a day on social media. Bearing in mind the studies that I shared with you just a moment ago is an alarming figure that could be extremely dangerous. However, these habits often start at a young age, and I've spoken to child psychiatrist Dr. Rabia Abrar to get a better understanding.
As far as calling it an addiction is concerned, in my view, I think it's important to bear in mind it's only related to how much boundaries have been set in. And if parents are unable to set in boundaries, which a lot of parents are, unfortunately, it can turn into something which is absolutely takes over the child's life, and it does turn into an addiction. Children's social skills have decreased significantly because they interact with the machine more than human beings. And when they spend too much time on social media, there's things like cyberbullying, which is quite damaging to young people. They're not interested in any social contact with the family, with the siblings, with playing with your peers, etc., because they're getting this instant gratification by just pressing a button.
So that really highlights how this can perhaps start from a younger age in children and what effect parents can have on social media addictions. But I wanted to find out a bit more about what the effects could be from a young person's perspective or someone slightly older. Here's what psychiatrist David Reese had to say about this.
If it's interfering with other things you should be doing, it's a problem. The danger is really disrupting personal relationships, disrupting getting your work done, just becoming the focus of your life instead of focusing on real life problems. It's disruptive to trust because they'll tend to sneak time on the internet, and then you get into issues of, are they lying about it? Is it disrupting trust? And of course, if it's disrupting their work or performance, it could actually become a financial problem or get them fired. People who are prone to depression or more serious disorders will be more prone to it because it allows you to make contact without really contacting people. So you can say things that you couldn't say in public. So it reduces the anxiety of interpersonal interaction that people with emotional problems can have. Since it isn't an addiction in the sense of like a drug that creates a craving, the key is looking at what is the need that it's serving. Is it replacing something that you really should face in your real life, or is it avoiding issues that you should really face in your real life? The key to dealing with the obsession is trying to figure out the meaning, and to do that you may need some objective help. It doesn't necessarily have to be a therapist. It can be a friend or just someone you can trust, but to look at what am I avoiding by doing this, or what need is it fulfilling that I should fulfill in another way.
Therefore, I wanted to put it to the test to find out how hard it really is to go a whole week without social media. This is what brave volunteer Beth had to say before starting the experiment.
I think it's going to be really hard. I'm on social media all the time. I think most people I know are. And I use it as a massive procrastinating tool, so I might actually get some work done. But it's going to be really hard for me. I'm on it so much.
I've come to check up on Beth on day one of the experiment, and it's not going as easy as it might sound on paper.
I'm finding it really difficult because we all went to a party last night at my house and we all took loads of pictures. They're all posting it and telling me how many likes they've got, and I've got a picture of myself that I want to post, and I have to wait an entire week until I can post it as well, and it's really annoying.
Unfortunately, social media has become such a necessity for some people in lives that it is virtually impossible to go without it. Beth had this exact problem, and on day 4 of the experiment, she found herself re-downloading one of the apps.
So unfortunately, I'm 4 days into the experiment and I've had to re-download Facebook Messenger because it's the only form of social media that I have a friend back home on, and I need to organise with her arrangements for a festival. I've agreed to only use it to message her, but unfortunately I had to re-download it.
As the week draws to an end, I've come to check up on Beth again to see how she's got on without social media for the whole week and whether she can reflect back on it as a positive thing or not.
I found not having a distraction quite difficult. So when I wasn't doing anything, I didn't really know what to do with myself, which is really bad. But I was a lot more productive. I did a lot more work. I didn't take breaks and just scroll through Instagram for hours on end. So all in all, I think it was a positive thing because it's made me realise that I actually do use it too much.
In conclusion, it's evident that in our day-to-day lives we are very reliant on social media. However, the severity of the dangers that can surface from overconsumption can be quite fatal. Although the NHS does not recognise it as an official addiction that can be treated yet, there are many clinics out there in the UK that offer support for this, and if you feel affected, don't be afraid to speak to someone.